gentlemen, may I have your attention please? The following
What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday at 7 p.m. It is time for the Triple Threat Bet Podcast. I'm your boy, Ty Cobb. It looks like it's going to be just us for a little bit. Al's on assignment. He's traveling back. He should be here in about 30 minutes. And Matt is traveling with work and will probably not be here tonight. She got me, and that's cool because I'm here to give thanks to last week's guest, Carlos Calzada with Smoking Lowe's Barbecue. He was kind enough to mentor our co-host, Al Hero, with the Danny Dietz Memorial Classic Cook-Off. They did get some they did get some walks, and they got some awards while they were there. But we'll be sure and go over that whenever they get on the show. As I said, there was the battle for the paddle of $50,000 KCBS grand prize for the grand champion was $7,500 and reserve champion $5,000. Hey, everything in Texas is bigger, and we like to do these real cool things. But today we have one of the mentors from my career. He was actually very short time in my career. He was in my SGL for SLC, and he was my brigade commo chief near the end of my career. But the mentorship, the things, the lengths he would go for people was just something that stuck with me for the rest of my career. And so I'm real happy to get him on here today. And then, of course, I do have a couple things to talk about with the Tomball VFW. They are having a community garage sale September 25th, 26th, and 27th. That is at the Tomball VFW, 14408 Alice Road, right there in the great state of Tomball, Texas, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Tomball VFW. And the next day, District 4 is going to be having recognition for veterans of foreign wars. And let's get out and support that. I think I need a better slide for that one. I'll get the date for you coming up for that one. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to our guest. Our guest was an SGL. He was a signal soldier in the Army. His name's Ashley Peele. We normally do a little bit of an intro, but this guy, he's just somebody that's going to have to tell his own story because it's that cool. All right, Ashley Peele, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Yeah,
over here.
I'm excited to finally get you on the show. Like I was telling my son today, he's asking who's coming on the show, and I tell him, well, this is actually one of my old mentors. So for those that don't know, he was my brigade commo chief at 36 Engineer Brigade, Stay Rugged, when I was out at the 2nd Engineer Battalion at White Sands, and of course he was my SGL for SLC, right, or ALC? I can't remember.
Yeah,
SLC. Freaking professional dude. We are going to talk a little bit about this picture on the right because I think this is when you were giving one of your VIP speeches for a graduation that you were asked to do about 900 times.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But the way we kind of like to get started is we like to, kind of see where you grew up and what your family life was like. So where'd you grow up? What your family life was like, and then stop when you get to kind of the military.
So I grew up in a little bitty small town in North Carolina called Jackson. Everybody always says, "Oh, I know Jacksonville." No, not Jacksonville, just Jackson, North Carolina. Small, like 700 population. Shit, man. We stayed in the woods. We stayed in the streets. We were those street-like kids. We didn't cause no trouble. We just ran around the neighborhood, playing hide and go seek. Lifelong friends from back then. Not a whole lot going on. We were just the poor kids that everybody went to a little small high school called Northampton County East. And a lot of people fell into the early drug thing, but that was never me. I worked from the 7th grade till I graduated high school, actually, at one little animal supply store across the street from my house. And that old man that ran that spot was just Me and him, and that dude taught me everything I know about working and work ethic and building and repairing and doing everything that I do now. So good times. Didn't play any sports. I was too small. I was like 5'4", 27 pounds or something, dude. It was terrible when I was in high school. It was terrible. I was too small to play sports. Didn't hit my growth spurt until boot camp. So
And what year did you go to boot camp?
96.
96. Excellent. So I do want to talk about a little bit about your upbringing. I was always out, you learn about the world in so many different ways. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, like, this guy is the kind of guy that can get up in the morning and build a speaker box for his vehicles. He's a vehicle guru. He loves all kinds of vehicles. Build a speaker box for his guru or for his truck. And then in the afternoon, he's going to repolish the table and then go do all of his IT work that he does as a signal soldier all day long. And then go home, do some martial arts, some MMA, and then do it all over again. So literally the professionalism and the can-do attitude and mental fortitude that he displayed when dealing with a bunch of alpha type personalities of senior NCOs that he has to corral through, SLC is no easy task. And the professionalism you showed, do you think that it comes from learning a lot of stuff from that guy, when you were young?
Yeah, man. That dude taught me everything. And I was home on leave one time, and he passed away when I was on leave, and that sucked. But that's just a part of life. But I definitely took so much from him. When I go home, we got this in our malls are a thing of the past now. One of the old stores in our mall now is like a veterans memorabilia type place. So I go in there, I look for his pictures, when he served, and have a little conversation with him. But every time I go home, I always make it by there to hang out with him for a minute.
That's amazing. So you said that you hit a growth spurt, right before basic training. So tell me a little bit about basic training. What made you get inspired to join the military in the first place?
So I was duped into coming into the military.
Uh,
I used to read those lowrider magazines back in the day, pull out the little card that says, hey, fill out this information for a free set of dog tags. So I filled out that, put my name, address, phone number. Maybe 7 weeks later, got some free dog tags, but they also came with a phone call from the Marine Corps recruiter. And he was like, hey, I heard you want to join the Marine Corps. I knew nothing about the military, dude, nothing at all. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went into the Peele program, Deppin or whatever they want to call it. And then come to find out, it was easy. The initial strength test, you got to do your pull-ups, your sit-ups, and your 1.5 mile run. They only wanted you to do 5 pull-ups. I think I did like 27, like a record for the damn office at that time. I did the 1.5 mile in a couple minutes. Outran the pace van. I was like, man, where are we going? Because this is just too slow. He's like, hey, go to the end of the road, take a right, and then take a left at the end of that road, and you'll see the building. And I just took off running. But when I went into the Marine Corps in 96, actually, dude, it was easy. And it's because I was physically ready. And the mental part, you just got to be able to get over that. As a kid, I was lost in the woods for 2 days, man. No one came looking for me. I just sleep beside a tree because you're scared to death at night to get up and move. You just sit there and piss yourself because, like, I ain't getting up to pee. I'm just sitting here and piss myself. So I was found by some hunters, and they knew my grandmother. So they took me to my grandmother's house, and she was like, "Oh, there he is." No one cared, man. We were tough kids.
We never got this story in SLC.
We were tough kids back then, man. I was in the woods just hanging out, walking around during the day, and at night you hug a tree and piss. I was the original tree hugger.
Absolutely. So you said you were ready physically, and maybe the mental part came back later. But what was your MOS in the Marine Corps?
So I was a 1300 series. Was an engineer. I went in with a guaranteed MOS. Lots of people were open contract. So here's a little secret about the Marine Corps boot camp that a lot of people don't know. In Paris Island, there's 4 battalions. All females go to 4th Battalion. It's no co-ed anything, but 1st and 2nd Battalion are for kids with normal upbringing. Hey, you may have had one parent, you probably had both parents. You had a normal life, no drug waivers, no trouble in the streets, none of that. And then there's an island off of the island called 3rd Battalion. And 3rd Battalion is where you send all the thugs, all the people that had street problems and attitude problems and drug waivers and stuff like that. So you can get broken of those street habits. So I ended up in 3rd Battalion when that had nothing to do with me, but I on a senior drill instructor night, he had everybody around the school circle. He's like, "Hey, McQueen, tell your story." McQueen told his story. He's like, "Recruit Red, tell your story." I'm listening. I'm like, "What the hell?" All right. And so I raised my hand. I was like, "Hey, sir, this recruit doesn't have any idea why he's here." He's like, "You must have requested to come early," and that's exactly what had happened. I had a ship date of January, but I was just so ready to go, so I shipped out in November. And November, the next thing going in November was a 3rd Battalion bus, and I ended up in 3rd Battalion. So the physical in 3rd Battalion is extreme because we have to break you of those habits and all that other stuff. So all the drug dealers and gangsters, man, they're in there crying, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. You guys just talked about how many people you slapped around, and now you're in here crying. But all right, that's cool. But yeah, the physical part, I loved it. I won the PT award. My senior drill used to run his 3 miles in like 15 minutes. So on our final PT test, he was in front of me, and we had some African dude in front of him that was a recruit, and he was rolling, man. He was rolling. And so I was pretty much in 3rd place. My senior was in 2nd place. He was just out there to motivate us. So coming around the last corner, man, my senior grabs his thigh and hobbles in the ditch, and then he screams out to me. He's like, "Don't let him beat you, Peele." I was like, "Oh man, I'm already dying right now, and I got to catch the African dude." So
he's fast as a Kenyan.
Yeah, man. So I ran him down, caught him, passed him, beat him in the run, came across the line, dry heaving, nothing was coming up, dude. Abdomen hurting, chest hurting, just dying, dude. Just absolutely dying. But Alpatoon won the PT award. Senior pulled me up. He's like, "Hey, man, when you come up, I'm going to salute you. I'm going to hang you like this bronze shoe. And you say, 'Hey, Recruit Peele reporting his order, sir.'" I didn't know that was supposed to be an exchange between he and I. In boot camp, man, you used to screaming everything to the top of your lungs. So I go up there and I salute and I scream, "Recruit Peele report." He's like, "Hey, just shut up, dude. Just take the damn shoe and go to the back of the formation." "Oh, all right." But yeah, we won the PT, man. We had a good time in boot camp. But I made some good friends that I still talk to this day. And yeah, like a week before graduation, man, I hit my growth spurt. Couldn't fit in none of my uniforms. I had to get all new dress blues, everything, like a week before graduation. I got so many boot camp stories, man. I got caught eating and walking, something you don't do in the Marine Corps in uniform. But yeah, it's bad. But whatever, man.
So how long did your Marine Corps career last?
So I did 4 years in the Marine Corps. First duty station was Japan, out of 9th Engineer Support Battalion at Camp Hansen. And then after Hansen, I PCS'd over to Camp Lejeune down in French Creek. And I wanted to go to Quantico. I wanted to go to Quantico and continue my Marine Corps career. And they were like, "Nope." And
you wanted to go cross-train in the FBI, or you just wanted to be like?
No, I wanted to be a long distance shooting instructor because I could shoot. So they were like, "Nah, man, you need to stay here at Camp Lejeune. That's like the black hole. It's like the Fort Hood of the Army, man. It's the black hole." So I got out. I EAS'd, and then I started in processing the Army while I was on terminal leave.
All right, you're gonna have to hold on. You're gonna have to explain that. So, in the mind of Ashley Peele, getting out of the Marine Corps, know that's going to happen and why. but only I've never heard of anybody while out processing and
Yeah.
processing to the Army. So give me that whole story.
Yeah, man. I had like 45 days leave, took my terminal, um, didn't know what I wanted to do next. So I went and talked to the Army recruiter. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Went and talked to the Army recruiter and pretty much started in processing, but I couldn't sign any paperwork until I got my DD 214 from the Marine Corps.
So this
So
is still 2000. It's prior
this is
9/11, right?
2000.
Right. Okay.
This is 2000. And started doing, filling out paperwork, just waiting on my 214. Got my 214, signed my little Army paperwork, dude. And the very next day, I drove my little S10 to Augusta for AIT. And it was 1 day break in service between the Marine Corps and the Army. And it was culture shock, man. I was not used to the way of the Army. Then my recruiter, like, oh yeah, well, we'll just make you an E4. It's just like being an E4 in the Marine Corps. I was like, oh, okay, I could do that again. That's not bad. E4 in the Marine Corps runs things. Not an E4 in the Army, dude. Not at all. So I was in the prior service. I actually was supposed to live on the other side of Barton Field over where SLC was. But my whole unit was on Exodus. So I had to stay with the drills and the privates when I first got to Gordon. And of course, that week that I was there, I stayed in trouble, man. I got in so many fights. I wasn't used to the way the Army spoke to you like you were nothing. Like the Marine Corps, your uniform says U.S. Marine, and that's it. Everybody's the same. We treat each other with the same respect, and ain't no parade rest for while talking to me. None of that. So it's New Year's night. Drill comes and turns the TV off at like 12:30. After the ball had dropped, and so I'm like the only one still sitting out in the little day room. So I turned the TV back on, and he came and turned it back off. He said, "You lucky I let you stay up this early. I mean, this late. I'm sorry." He's like, "You lucky I let you stay up this late." I don't know, man. A fuse blew or something. I mean, I don't know, man. But it was his little CQ runners pulling me off of that drill in a matter of seconds, man. I was like, "What? You let me stay up this late?" Yeah, it was. I had some discipline issues when I first came into the Army, man. I wasn't used to the way.
Well, I mean, I remember when you were sergeant first class, there was still some defiance in there. So and then I dug that because I had a lot of that same stuff. But what I'm seeing is in all your trends in life, you always seem to put yourself in some unique positions to either learn something that's going to stay with you forever or make an impact on somebody's, life. So,
Yeah.
all right. So you had to get pulled off a drill.
A lot of the stuff I did as an SGL, man, it was because I wanted NCOs to be better. Like I introduced the whole the Marine Corps martial arts program into PT and stuff like that. I would give my own little briefing when students came in about what to do, what not to do. I mean, I just brought stuff in. I just wanted smart NCOs, dude. I just wanted smart soldiers, and I love teaching, so I just like passing on knowledge to people. And it was just some things that the academy was missing. Man, I even had some rough moments at the academy. I was the first SGL to ever be suspended at the academy.
Was this before or after I came through?
This was before.
Oh wow!
This
Okay.
was before. Yeah, this was
Well, hold on. Before we get to that, so basic and AIT, what MOS? I know what MOS yours, but for the audience, what MOS did you become in the Army?
So when I went to see the Army recruiter, I was like, dude, I want a desk and a computer. I'm tired of being the engineer, all the dirt, the field, tired of that. Anyway, yeah, I thought he heard me. I thought he cared, but he's like, yeah, you got the perfect job for you. 25 uniform. You get a computer and a desk. Yeah, as an E7, but that's cool. It was technical. I scored real high on the whole technical thing, so it was right up my alley, man. And it is honestly, to me, I think one of the best MOSs in the military, when it comes to you being a technical professional. Because again, man, they talk about us, but they can't talk without us. And I still teach that to this day. I teach radios. So it's easy, man. And
Yeah,
it's
I always enjoyed being a 25 uniform because of the units you'll get sent to. Like a lot of the other 25 series or signal series, they're going to end up in a signal battalion. And when uniforms are in a signal battalion, as well as I know that we're like, we ain't doing shit. We're
yeah,
at the bottom of the
yeah.
rung. When 25 uniforms go to line units, infantry, engineers, and I was with MPs for 10 years. I mean, you get all the training, all the cool schools. And I agree, 25 uniform signal 25 uniform is absolutely the best MOS,
Yes.
especially if you got ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah. I had some man, I had some stories. I had a chief tell me in Korea, he's like, hey man, you got two options in the army. Because he was an old Navy SEAL that came into the army. I don't know why he did that, but all right. The man told me you got two options when you show up to a unit. You can be an asshole or you can be an asset. And I was like, well, I want to be both. I want to be that needed asshole, but I also, want to be an asset to the unit. And so that was just my mentality. My mentality was to honestly take over every unit that I went to. I wanted that unit to not be able to survive without me. So I did so much. I'm doing the commo. I'm doing your driving. I'm your armor. I'm your damn special pop PT person. I'm doing everything. Every unit I went to, and that was just my mentality, man. Take over that unit, and make everybody there better, whether they want to be better or not. But
Yeah, I think that same mindset, I always thought that's probably why I took to you so kindly. But um, every unit I went to, I wanted to know what all the other S shops did. I want to know what all the other sections did. I wanted to know what their weaknesses were because, my military career as well as yours was the war on terror, the global war on terror. So once 9/11 happened, it was just, I was in Kosovo when that happened. And from then on, you're just deploying and coming back and deploying and coming back. So a lot of those, talk about some of the lessons you learned in the Marine Corps and how that transitioned. And what did you do as an E4 in the Army when you got to your first unit?
um, my first unit, where was my oh El Paso, Texas, before it became what it is now. Old El Paso that ended down at Biggs Field. So went to this air defense unit and brand new 25 uniform. Um, had one, two, three. It was like four other soldiers in the shop, all E4s. Um, and we had this one E6. Um, damn, love that man to death right now. Can't even think of his name. But this man taught me so much about being a uniform and what we do and everything else was just, man, hook this radio up. If it doesn't have power, check things to make it have power. So it was I taught like I was considered the most senior person in my shop because I had 4 years of prior service active duty. So those guys that were in the shop, I mean, I taught them. I didn't know anything, but I taught them everything I knew. And a lot of stuff I figured out on my own. A lot of stuff, the E6 that was there um, taught us, but he couldn't make E7 as a uniform, believe it or not. So he had to go back to recruiting 79 Romeo to pin E7. So he left us and went back to recruiting so he can pin E7. And then of course another E6 came in, um but that dude, like, we retrans, I learned everything about the army, radios, retrans, on retrans, especially definitely learn spades. Because we're out there in the middle of nowhere, man, just setting up doing retrans and using all the free time we had to learn. And I just taught those guys everything. And that crew, I mean, I just hung out with one of those dudes in Hawaii. I traveled to Hawaii a lot. So I hung out with one of those dudes in Hawaii recently. But Good crew, man. I still talk to all of them to this day. We may have our political differences, but whatever, man. At the end of the day, they know I'll still slap shit out of them, but and I love them.
I got you. All right, so you're an E4 in your shop. Tell me what your first experience for a Army military leadership school. I guess you went to PLDC or
Man, I
WLC.
went to WLC. Um, so with my 4 years in the Marine Corps, I was kind of all I needed was the bare minimum school, and go to the board for that promotion. So I kind of got promoted a little fast in the Army. Um, but like I went to WLC in Korea, was it Camp Jackson? And then soon as I went to WLC, I pinned E5. 6 months later, 6 months after getting to Korea, I pinned E5. And then exactly 1 year after pinning E5, I pinned E6. And so I extended in Korea because I was in a good unit. We were the first Army unit to occupy Osan Air Base. And in an air defense unit, you're supposed to have an air defense first sergeant. But we had a E8 in the commo shop, and the first sergeant had got relieved. So our 25 uniform E8 took over as the first sergeant. And that made the unit so much cooler because to me, I don't think air defenders they get promoted so fast that they really don't learn a lot of leadership, in the junior ranks. So our 25 uniform, Master Sergeant Hudson took over, and man, it was the absolute coolest Army unit I had ever been in. It was me, Staff Sergeant Witherspoon, and Staff Sergeant Hall. Us three E6s ran that unit, man. When things were done, hey, first sergeant, everything's done. He's like, hey, you don't need to hold nobody and waste their time. If everything's done, y'all go home. And we played on the basketball team together. We played on the flag football team together. It was just a tight unit, which is why I stayed there for another year. Stayed there for another year, and then everybody started the PCS, man. I was like the only one left. So I was like, all right, it's time for me to go. And then I went to Germany.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what did Germany look like for you?
Oh man, I went to first ID. So rapid deployment. I got there, everybody was deployed. So I was on rear D for a couple months. They all came back. Maybe 4 months later, we were gone again. So I got on that next deployment. And then we were gone for 12 months. Yeah, 12 months, and then came back to Germany. And I had been trying to get Augusta to be a trainer for years, dude. Every time I wanted the PCS, nope, nope, nope. My sergeant major came to me. He was like, "Where do you want to go after Germany?" I was like, "Fort Gordon, sergeant major. I've been trying to get there for a couple years now, and it just ain't been happening, dude. I swear, 24 hours later, I had orders to Fort Gordon." And back then, sergeant major Pramos, who was the commandant at the academy, he had first pick on every E6 and above that came to Augusta. So I was supposed to go over to 369. And when I started in processing, the lady at that in processing building, she was like, "Hey, your orders have changed. Sergeant Major wants to see you in his office. Here's your ERB. Here's your last 3 NCOERs. Go see the Sergeant Major. Go see the commandant at the NCO Academy." I was like, "All right." So I go talk to him. He's like, "Hey, man, saw your ERB, saw your NCOERs. No way I'm going to let you go to 369. I was like, "All right." He's like, "I ain't got no job for you, but I'm gonna just hold you here on my staff until I get one." So he's like, "I'm gonna put you in training development." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And he's like, "Hey, before you go, what's your pet peeve? Like what really, really sets you off?"
That's hilarious because question number 7, because I know that you have them. I have on the hot seat is what is your biggest pet peeve? So go ahead, tell me now.
So I told him, I said, fat, overweight soldiers that refuse to train and meet the standard. He's like, "Oh yeah, you definitely don't need to go to 369. Go on over to training development and talk to Matt Sergeant, what's his face over there, and I'll and he'll put you to work." But man, I just don't understand why you want to make this a profession and then suck at it. Like, don't want to do anything for anybody, for yourself, like for the army, for the military. It ain't even got to be the army, just the military in general. So it's a lot of people out there just faking the funk. And when I was in SGL, I used to do this thing called a peer evaluation. At the end, it was the other students telling each NCO what they thought about them after only knowing them for 7 weeks. So if this NCO says whatever about you after only knowing you for 7 weeks, that's probably what you've been doing your whole career. And man, I told them, hey, you got to have thick skin because no one's here to stump the chump. I just want you to hear what your peers have to say about you after only knowing you for 7 weeks. And some people don't know they screwed up or jacked up until you tell them they jacked up. They think they're doing everything right. But man, those peer evaluations, none of them ever got out of hand. But NCOs learn that, man, maybe I need to step it up. I need to do better. But, it wasn't part of the curriculum, just something I threw in there, man. Like, you need to hear this because people don't know they screwed up until you tell them they screwed up, man. Some NCOs are like, damn, I did? Like, yeah, dude, 7 weeks. You didn't want to do nothing volunteer. You dipped out. You go smoke a cigarette when it was time to clean, Burkhardt Hall or something. I think you've been doing that your whole career, man. And you're like, damn, I suck. But, when I pulled up my ERB to show you guys how to read ERBs just so you can understand them, and people see like my time and grade, my data rank, they're like, wait a minute, dude, whose ERB is this? I'm like, it's mine. I'm like, wait a minute. He's like, I'm senior to you. Yep, you probably are. Again, I got promoted fast in the Army, dude. I'm 87 fast. So you probably are senior to me. But right now, you're one of my students, and I got your 1059. So you may want to squeeze them lips together, homie. Or,
I think I probably heard squeeze them lips together a couple times.
Yeah.
From shut the fuck up, cop.
Yeah. Because, man, I don't know, man. That's just the position I was in. So, we had one EA student, our only EA student ever that got promoted on the deployment. And he came to me, he's like, hey, man, I know I'm a student. If you want me to clean the shitters, I'm going to clean the shitters. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it because I need that 1059 or he's going to get administratively reduced. So I was like, hey, man, we still going to respect your rank. But yes, I'm glad you do realize this is student status and, you're still a student. But yeah, he was cool, man. He was cool.
I don't know if you remember this story or not. I don't even know if I told you, but I got promoted a lot during deployments. So I got promoted to E4, 5, 6, basically Sergeant First Class 2, all while deployed. So I got a sequence number after coming back from the 2008 deployment of like 216, and I had not even been to WLC yet. So you remember Sergeant Major Marty up at G1? Yep. His name is in my record so many times. I got the waiver for deployment for WLC to get promoted, waiver for deployment for ALC to staff sergeant, and then eventually I went to WLC. 7 days later, went to ALC, and then got promoted in 2010, and then I came to you right after I'd gotten promoted, and I was embarrassed to wear my shit because I was a brand new Sergeant First Class, but again, like a lot of those guys, I knew more than they did. You know what I'm saying? Like it was good thing. Like Colvig, there was a few guys. There was a guy named Johnson, drove a Nissan pickup. I thought he was real cool. Colvig was real good, but like most 25 uniforms, I was just superior to. And you were one of them people that I met. It was just like, oh, full stop. This dude is for real. And there's a couple other. I don't know if you know a guy named Alfredo Broadnax.
I know that name. Oh yeah.
There's another guy named Patrick
Gumby.
Jackson. Yeah.
Gumby.
I was with him at Fort Polk. He's outstanding. There's a guy named Patrick Jackson that I went to basic and AIT with that he became a sergeant major. He was outstanding. And then you probably remember Robert Dawson, white dude from Texas, called him Tex. I mean, you 4 or 5 people, and then Kevin Walsh are the only 5 or 6 people that I ever thought were better at me at my job as a 25 uniform. So all those little 3 to 5 minute things that you shared with us after formation, before formation, while trying to wrap us up doing your fucking Billy Blanks fucking MMA shit that we did for PT.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you very much. So to hear that you've done that literally since you were a kid in single digits, that's exactly what I expected from you. So all right, so let me get back to you. Stop talking about myself. So
Oh, you're good, man. One of my students works with the company with me now, and that's all he talks about. Man, you remember when you were
is you as an
Mansfield? He taught us
as you
this, and and you remember that dude we knocked out because we chopped him in the neck during the break? I was like, man, y'all, and yeah, y'all were kids, man. You know, get a bunch of E7s in the class, and they act just like a bunch of privates, man. Sword fighting and shit, and yeah, I get it,
yeah,
man.
the hexadecimal class, I remember like we made videos because that dude was boring as fuck. And it wasn't that hard, but it was, it was something that we had to really pay attention to. And he was boring as hell. And them guys just made that fun as hell, because I mean, being in your class, you would park your car all funky, in the parking lot,
Yeah,
sideways, and we'd all huddle up, and just that was the coolest school that I'd ever been to in the military, at least leadership school. But
yeah.
yeah, I appreciate you very much. All right, so tell me some stories about being an SGL and kind of how you always ended up having to do the talk, and then some of the funny stories going through there.
So, man, listen, being I wanted to be an SGL like so bad, because I just wanted to pass on a whole bunch of useless knowledge to people daily. So I do have some stories. Um, I have one to when I before I became an SGL, I was a train developer, instructor writer. You know, I used to go and evaluate SGLs and sit in the back of their class and tell them what I saw. And like I said, man, I was the first SGL to ever get suspended. Um, caught a class of bravos, man, cheating on the leadership exam, and their SGL was just up front chilling. And I was standing in the back looking at all their screens from behind, and I just kept seeing this pop up, come up, go down, come up, go down. I'm like, what is going on? That should not be happening during the leadership exam. You know, the leadership exam was 100 questions, 100 minutes, and that thing was stressful. So I uh I leaned over and looked at one guy's screen, and the title was Top Secret Hush Hush. I'm like, oh my God, I know you ain't name your cheat code Top Secret Hush Hush. So, all right. So I was like, hey, everybody go on break. SGL was up there on his phone. And I was like, everybody, hey, no, because they were, they tried to delete it and everything and put it in their recycle bins. Like, no, leave your mouse alone. Everybody go outside on break. So I said, SGL, come here. Like, let me show you what's going on in your class. And so I showed him. He's like, what? What? No, not my class. I'll do all of them, all 16, 25 Bravos. So we called the commandant over, and he's pissed, dude. He is pissed. So he interviews each student. You know, they went outside on break and they got their story together. Guys, stick together. They can't do nothing to us. So the commandant interviewed each student individually. Hey, did you know you're actively cheating? Oh, no, Sergeant Major. What? Where? When? No, not me, homie. So he interviewed, he lost his temper when he interviewed a drill sergeant. And the drill sergeant said, Sergeant Major, I was not cheating. I'm a United States Army drill sergeant. I live, breathe, eat, and shit integrity. But yet he was cheating his ass off. Either way, um, Sergeant Major took it to JAG. Jag said nobody admitted to cheating or knowing that they were cheating. Sergeant Major's like, no. Like, well, ain't nothing you can do to them. So Sergeant Major's like, well, yes, yes, there is something I can do to them. Sergeant Major Pramos was probably the best Sergeant Major I ever had in my life. That dude had other E9s standing at parade rest. He just demanded, respect from everybody. So he red tagged all of their records. He didn't allow any of them to walk across the stage. He called me in my office one day. He's like, hey, you going to the graduation? I was like, yes, Sergeant Major. He's like, meet me in my office. So he took all their 1059s in one stack. And, ALC had a classroom in the back, like a warehouse classroom area. And he had the whole graduating class in there. And he said, y'all not walking across my damn stage. And everybody here know what you did. He's like, you may have thought you've gotten away with it, but I've red tagged each one of your records, you know, actively cheating in an NCOES. And he's like, Jack said I can't do nothing to you, but this is what I'm gonna do. So he took all their 1059s, man, and threw them up in the air. He's like, find your shit and get out of my schoolhouse. And they were just scrounging to the floor looking for theirs. And oh, it was so gangster, man. That dude, I was like, he's like, I'm gonna show them assholes. But yeah, I got suspended, dude, for that. Because the ALC first sergeant said I was disruptive and he didn't want me in classes. So the commandant was like, hey man, I'm just gonna go along with him on this, not to cause no ruffles in my water. He's like, just take a week, man, and just go to the gym, you know, chill, do something. I'm like, all right. So, but after that suspension was over with, I was right back at him, dude. And the commandant loved it. He's like, hey man, keep doing what you're doing. You know, you're forcing my SGLs to do their job. They don't know when you're gonna show up. So they're always doing the right thing. I was like, all right, yeah, that's what I do. But then I became an SGL, man. And I had the best time as an SGL. Had some butthole students, but you know what's crazy? A dude I got in a fight with in AIT was one of my students when I was in SGL. And I broke this dude down. Like, you know, we were prior service. We had our own cars. So after class, we just go over back to Barton Field, you know, buy a 6-pack and hang out in our room. The drills would come pick up the students, march them to chow and all this other stuff. They had to clean up the classroom. So one day, class was over early. I was like, hey, man, why don't y'all straighten up the desk, take out the trash, so when your drill comes, you're not wasting your own time. You can go straight to chow. And this one private stood up and told me everything he thought about me. And again, that same fuse blew again, and I was on his ass, dude. And I was looking at my OML years later, and his name was up there. And I was like, no, it can't be. Can't be. Yep, it was him. One of my students. He didn't even want to look me in the face. I'm like, man, that was years ago, man. You took that ass whipping, and you know, you're still here. You're like Antoine Fisher, man. You're still standing, you know, so get over it. You're good.
Did he get his 1059?
Oh, yeah, absolutely got his 1059. He actually turned out to be a good NCO. I guess that little ass whipping, you know, instilled some discipline in him.
Every now and then you got to tighten somebody up. You know how it is.
Yeah.
All right, so you're an SGL, and then what happened? What when you finished with the SGL? How long did that last?
That was 3 years.
And it was all at Fort Gordon.
All at Fort
Gordon.
Gordon.
That was 9, 10, and 11.
Yep, because then I PCS to Fort Hood and went straight into a deployment.
Right. So at this point, I had finished SLC and I went to White Sands, and then we went to Afghanistan. So we were under 36. So tell me what happens when you get to 36, and how do you become the brigade commo chief?
I was a little brainwashed from the NCO Academy. I went to first. So there's 2 battalions, and of course there was the brigade there. There were more than 2 battalions, but 62nd Engineer Battalion was the first battalion that I went to, and 62nd Engineer Battalion had soldier issues. So I corrected a lot of those soldier issues because the NCOs were doing dumb shit. So the soldier's going to do dumb shit. So went to 62nd Engineer Battalion, Battalion S6 NCOIC, went to a deployment, came back. The brigade S6 NCOIC slot was open and they had nobody in it. And the sergeant major's like, I don't care. You're doing it. Like you by default, you know, he's like, I know it's an EA position, but you're doing it. I was like, all right, not a problem. I go up to the brigade and found out I'm really not a staff person. I don't have that talk to me nice staff mentality. I said what needed to be said at meetings, and I wasn't about wasting anyone's time. So I was at the brigade for a year. Good times. Totally flip-flopped the whole way the brigade S6 was ran over there, because it was just some things that, again, when the NCOs don't care, the soldiers gonna run amok. So went to the brigade, got the brigade straightened out. They got an E8 in. Actually, I still work with this guy to this day. He's on our fielding team with the company I work for now. Master Sergeant Aranda came in and took over the brigade S6 NCOIC spot, and I went down to 20th Engineer Battalion. You know, I had 2 battalions and the brigade in the same brigade. So then I hit 19 years and 6 months. Time to retire. Nope, denied retirement.
What was the reasoning for denying
Let's call it our branch manager back then being a butthole, and he really was. Like that dude, no one liked him at all. So
Do you want to say the name? I know who you're talking about.
I can't even think of his name, but if I hear it, I'll know it. That dude, everyone hated. So Reggie Kit, I don't know if you know Kit.
Oh yeah, I know
Yeah.
him.
So me and Kit, you know, we were
milkshakes together.
yeah, we were SGLs together. So me and Kit was like, man, what's this dude's problem? Kit was like, I don't know, man, but he's screwing me over too. And then Kim Hitch, you know, he was getting everybody, man. He was screwing everybody over. So he said, hey, I already had you on orders.
It wasn't Yee, was it?
Who?
Mark Yee. You remember him?
No, wasn't
okay.
him.
It must have been after him. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So we were like, I was like, he's like, hey, I had you on orders in the system. I was like, no, wasn't on my ERB, wasn't projected, wasn't nothing, dude, wasn't nothing. So I said, hey man, I'm a single parent. You know, I was a single parent. So I have to pull my son out of school and go back to Germany, you know, back overseas with, you know, 6 months left to 20 years. He's like, yeah. So I go talk to the brigade sergeant major. I go talk to the Fort Hood retention sergeant major. And she was like, oh, I got you, sergeant. Don't even worry about it. I just left HRC. I know your branch manager personally. I'll call him right now. Okay. I was like, okay, I might be out of this. She called him on speakerphone. He's like, nah, homie, you don't work over here no more. Boop, hung up on her. I was like, damn. Why do these people want me back in Germany so bad, man? So went back to Germany, you know, went to Germany, put in for another retirement, denied. I had 3 denied retirements total. And put in for a curtailment. All right, let me retire, let me leave early. Nope, we spent too much money getting you and your family over here. So you have to stay, you know, the full term. And after my 3rd one, I was like 6 months till PCSing again. And my brigade commander was like, you've had 3 denied retirements. Yep. She's like, fill out 1 more and I'll get it done. Nope. I'm just going PCS. I'm not going through this again. And so she went to the S1 and pulled up my previous retirement packet and hand walked it. And within 24 hours, I had an approved retirement date. Now, it had the wrong dates on it.
This? Okay,
This was 17. Had the wrong dates on it. So all my leave, I had to sell. I only had the 30 days commander's leave that was put in the retirement packet. So I pretty much had less than 40 days to be out of Germany, out of the army, and retired. So yeah, went to CIF with like what was in my trunk and said, here, CIF, this is all I got. Give me a statement of charges for the rest. I got to go. Yeah. So I got a garage full of all of my old gear right now.
Holy cow. So let me recap. So you joined the Marine Corps in 1996, joined the Army in 2000. You have an outstanding career to where, and this is my opinion, everyone you come in contact with learns something the way they were supposed to learn something in the military. Have a great career. You get 3 denied retirements, and finally they have to walk it through. Now, had you made a really good impression on this last leader of yours, or why do you think that you had 3 denied?
I was raising so much. Yeah, so the curtailment was one. They didn't want to. Hey, they said they couldn't justify the money that was spent to bring me over and all this other crap, and then the full bird, you know, she was like, well, I want to try, you know, I just sign paper and send it up, you know. She's like, I want to hand walk one. I guess I was her project or something. I don't know. But she hand walked my packet straight through USERA and all this other crap and 21st TSC. And yes, It was done in 48 hours. I got the email, your approved retirement packet. And I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I was 6 months from PCS and back to America where I was just like, I'll just PCS anywhere and drop a packet as soon as I get there. But it was rough over being in Germany because time difference, trying to buy a house. I came back here lost, dude. Like, what am I gonna do? I stayed with one of my old soldiers from 20th Engineers. Um, he had his own place, so my son and I stayed with him until everything was situated. I found the house and all this other stuff, and started working and collecting my retirement and disability, and from then on, man, I've been contracting.
Right. We'll get to the contract in a second, but I do want to talk about your transition. Like, if I know that you probably made this transition easy for you, but for 99% of the people in the world, having 6 months and being, moving with your kid from Germany back to America, all while having to do your regular job, that's not the normal thing. So it seemed like a trend. You always made the best out of some crazy ass situations. Is basically
Yep.
the trend.
Yep. I was like, all right, man, Alex, hey, we're going back somewhere. So my son is weird. All right. So I'm in Texas because my son is weird. So my son loves Kiss. He loves Ozzy Osbourne. I take him to Kiss concerts. He used to do his own makeup and everything. So he's not your typical African American kid. He don't listen to the crazy, music that kids listen to these days. He loves Kiss. I'm like, where can I go and my son not be that weird kid showing up in the middle of a junior school year? So I was like, we were just in Texas. He has some friends from elementary school and junior high. I'll go back to Texas. I'll move into the same neighborhood. I'll put him in the same school so he can have the same friends and just be comfortable. And it was more of a transition for him, not for me, because I'm like, hey, dude, I ain't got to get up and go to work anymore. So I'm good. So came back to Texas, same neighborhood, met up with the same friends that he had before he left. They all remembered him. They knew him. So he was comfortable and he fell right in, in school. And all I had to do was sleep in every morning. So it was more of a transition for him, not for me, because, man, look, I'll adapt to anything instantly. So as long as
You
he was
are
good, I was
as
good.
dude, and I know that you've taught everybody in your family those same skills. That seems to be another trend with you, is you're always teaching. But what would you think would be the optimal time to be able to transition out? Like, what do you think about the actual Army transition and the SFL TAP program that the Army uses?
So the SFL tap, really, it, I would say it helped me. I wouldn't say it helped me a lot because I'm like, man, I'm a 25 uniform going back to the Fort Hood area. There's got to be something I can do, um, easily. So the whole resume thing, a lot of people do struggle with writing resumes. But again, man, I teach, I taught the same thing at SLC that I teach now. I teach, hey, look up your VMet and pull all of that information from your VMet and put it into your resume because it's your duty positions, it's the schools you've been to, it's everything you've done in your career in civilian terms, not a lot of jargon and all that stuff. So it's easier for you to do a resume, copy paste, and your resume's done. I still teach that to students these days. Go to gibillcalculator.com and look up, the area you want to go to school in and how much is going to pay you and how much is paid by the GI Bill. The difference between the GI Bill and post 9/11 and VA benefits. I teach all that little extra stuff. I throw in on the end of my classes, but SFL, I mean, it's kind of mandatory. If you go to it, you will learn something. Um, I would say it helped me with my transition because I did get a solid resume out of it. Other than that, it was just a bunch of officers crying about the I can't go into my next government job for 6 months. What am I gonna do? Like, dude, you're a retiring full bird. What do you mean? What are you gonna do? You're gonna do nothing for 6 months, dude, and just wait. But Bill's holding a job for me, this GS 18 job for me. And I'm like, man, just hold on, man. You look, they wanted to stay in Europe. Like, man, go to the PX and deliver pizzas on post until for 6 months, man. It's do something. But A lot of people crying, but a lot of people took something from it. A lot of the younger soldiers, man, they don't have a clue. I preach every week in class. Best thing you can do is do your 20 years and set yourself up for success. Because if you get out, you're going to regret it every day. I've never met anybody that got out and then 15 years later, like, man, I made the best decision of my life getting out of the Army. No, dude, I ain't never seen nobody do that, ever. So stay in, you know, that 20 years of your life is going to pay you for the rest of your life, man. At least you'll have some type of stability. But nowadays, man, you see today's soldiers. Whew, I got some stories about today's soldiers that I probably shouldn't even speak on because it's unreal. But I'm so glad I don't wear the uniform anymore because it's hard for me not to say anything as, you know, their trainer today. But man, it's
What was the date that you actually took the uniform off?
April 1st, 2018 was my official retirement date. So I had 30 days leave before that. So it was in May. May was my last time in uniform in May. Wow.
Do you miss it? Because I know that I do.
Absolutely. But am I glad I'm not in it right now? Absolutely. Because me being me and me knowing me, no.
Talking about interacting with today's
man.
What kind of things did you see that kind of gave you that opinion now?
Here's a prime example. 2 weeks ago, I'm teaching in Fayetteville, you know, Fort Bragg, the home of the kick you in the nuts and keep walking crew. You know, they're the tough guys. Nah, man. There was this E6. Listen, dude. Dark green Marines, that's what I call black people because there's no color in the Marine Corps. It's either light green Marine or dark green Marine. Dark green Marines don't have red hair. All right. I saw this black guy with a big, twisted, matted pile of shit on his head, and it was just as red as my shirt. E6 in uniform. And I didn't even pay for my food, dude. I just put it down and walked out of the store because I know I would have said something. I know me. And you see it everywhere now. And you ask the soldiers, like, hey, man, why do you do this? Why do you look like absolute trash in uniform? He's like, you know what? Because no one's going to say anything to me and ruin their career because I'll file a complaint and the soldier's going to win. So NCOs don't say anything to them because they don't know how to say it and they don't want it to come off as being whatever it could come off as. And that soldier's going to do a complaint. Instead of taking the advice and the knowledge and learning, they're just going to file a complaint like, oh, he discriminated against me because my hair looks like absolute shit. That's exactly why I did it, Sergeant Major. But it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. And hopefully it stops with this new, you know, directive they just released last week. But man, it's so bad. I've had a male.
Go ahead, Ash.
With the biggest breast implants I've ever seen in my life on the guy. And what? Wait.
In
what?
uniform?
In uniform, yes.
Right. And so what does that do to your blood pressure? You don't have to answer that. Huh? On the ground, man. I plead the fifth.
Man, hey, I was teaching the Las Vegas National Guard, and this guy was a Vegas showgirl in his free time. And he showed up to my class, and I was like, what in the fuck is going on with what's going on in today's world, man? But you know what?
You got a memo to have a secondary job from the commander. You know what I'm saying?
Well, guess what? That joker answered every question. He was the most interactive person in class. You know, he kind of did a little too much, but, you know, with this standing up and running around class stuff. But, like, man, you ain't got to do that, man. You know, you definitely don't have to do that in here. But, yeah. He also got a coin from the commander, you know, for being participating the most during the class. And when the commander, you know, he looks back to his captain to get the coin out of his bag, and when he turned around, this guy was standing in front of him with these, you know, triple D's, and he turned around like, what the, you could look at his face and tell that he was not expecting that to be standing in front of him. So he just shook his hand, made eye contact, and the dude ran off back to his
Continue
seat.
mission.
Yeah, I was like, man, it threw him for a loop. Yeah.
Well, I do want to pause here just for a few minutes.
Yep.
We've covered the transition. We've covered your Marine and Army career, and we've kind of talked some of the anecdotal stuff and the leadership that you've had throughout your career. But now it is time for the hot seat. So I'm going to ask you about 10 questions. Nothing too crazy, but brain whenever I ask these questions. All right. What is the most important value to you, loyalty or respect?
Shit. Probably loyalty.
Okay, and why?
Because I don't have a lot of friends. My little friend circle is very, very small. My one friend has the code to my house, my safe, all that stuff. And that's it. He's the only one. He's the only one that I know I can call at 2 a.m. and he'll be there. So definitely the loyalty.
Gotcha. Absolutely. All right. Who is your favorite boxer or MMA fighter of all time?
My son, because that is my son's new path. He went into the Navy. He got med boarded for a broken collarbone that he had when he was 11. He had a pre-existing injury that wouldn't hold up. So now he's deep into the whole MMA thing, man. He goes into practice every day. He's here screaming like a cheerleader whenever the fights are on. And hopefully he's gonna be something and do something with all of that one day.
How old is your son right now?
23.
Is he a mini version of you as far as his can do just about any freaking thing?
Absolutely not.
No.
I try to get him there. I try to get him there, man. But if he's not interested in it, he'll do it on purpose. Alex, hand me that screwdriver. Here, hand me the hammer. All right, take your ass in the house. I'm good. I'll fix it myself. Yeah, he'll do that on purpose.
All right. I know that you can do everything, and I have no idea if you're actually a chef also, but what is the most exquisite meal that you cook when you're feeling like it?
Well, yes, I am a chef.
I figured you were.
I make some amazing oxtail mac and cheese. I make some oxtail Alfredo. I smoke lasagna. I smoke the world, Craig. I throw everything.
Whoa. I do another show on Wednesday called the So Smoking Gooder Show where we talk about Texas barbecue. You're telling me you smoke lasagna?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Again, put your meats out on the smoker, infuse them, put some smoke into them. Make all your wet ingredients in the house. Come in and mix the meat with the wet ingredients. Make it, layer your lasagna. Put your cheese on it. Throw it in the smoker for like 2 hours and let some smoke get in that cheese. And then you watch people's faces fall off when they eat it. Yeah.
Okay, I may have to try that and then send it to you. What is the most unique place on earth you've ever visited?
Budapest. So I travel the world now with my current job, and Budapest is absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved Budapest.
What was the what was the favorite thing about it?
The view, the culture, the city itself. I mean, the buildings are just so intricate that you come here and it does not compare at all. Budapest was absolutely beautiful. And I think I was probably the only black person to ever step foot in Budapest. So I was a celebrity. People were taking pictures of me everywhere I went.
All right, this next question is probably going to be kind of difficult for you, but I want you to tell me your favorite vehicle you've ever
owned. My Holden, or AKA the Chevy SS. Absolutely love that car. 6.2 liter engine, 455, but of course, I'm not keeping it like that long. And you throw the Holden badges on it, and no one knows what it is. It looks like a Malibu. It looks like an Impala. I used to call it an Impala-boo. Everybody is like, oh, that's the loudest Peugeot, because the Holden emblem kind of looks like Peugeot. So I'm like, that's the loudest Peugeot I've ever heard. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well. And I love eating, other AKA sports cars in my 4-door family sedan with a couple other people in the car and some grocery in the trunk.
Gotcha. All right, here's a good one. Are you walking uphill, to get some ass, or are you going to run downhill to kick some ass?
I totally took that the wrong way because I was about to say my ass is coming to me. But okay, I'm running uphill to kick some ass because I ain't running no more. But back in the day, I used to run uphill all the time. Now, getting my little hover around that I drive down to my mailbox just for shits and grins, I'll take that thing uphill, laying down some suppressive fire.
All right. So I know what your biggest pet peeve in the military is, but outside of the military, other than your son handing you a hammer when you ask for a Phillips, what is your biggest pet peeve in the world?
People, man. People not understanding other people. That people trying to push their point of view onto you and make you think this is what it is. You are your own person, man. Form your own opinions about everything you do or believe in life, and don't let nobody try to influence you to follow them. Be whoever you are. Be that asshole or that asset. I mean, it's people, and people are so easily influenced these days, man. It's just sad how you're like, oh, 1 + 1 is 3. No, it's not. Yes, it is. I'm telling you, it is. Like, yeah, okay, it could be. No, man. No, it's not.
I was just writing down asshole or asset. I'm definitely going to put that in the lexicon. All right. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm up every morning at 4 a.m.
What time are you going to bed?
Around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
So you're up late for me?
Here's a typical day for me. I go in my garage, 4 a.m. I either got an engine to build, or I got someone's car to work on, or I'm just out there building something that I had a dream about. And I will go to Lowe's and I will build it. And once I build it in that day, I'm like, all right, it works. I did it. And I'll just put it on the shelf or I'll put it in the trash. And I'm usually out in the garage all day long. Sit out there all day, either with the TV on, watching Motor Trend, or still building something. I work on kids' cars, around the Peele area for free. I teach them how to change brakes and rotors and shocks and struts and oil and all that stuff. I don't charge them anything. But my days usually end at around 4 in the afternoon. I'll come in, take a shower, sit in my recliner, and I'll eat something and I'll chill. And I get up the next day and I do it all over again.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, I thought that you were a pretty freaking cool guy with what I knew about you before, but just in the hour and 8 minutes that we've talked already, I already think highly exponentially higher of you now. But I really appreciate you coming on. All right, here's a big question for the podcast.
All right.
Who's the greatest of all time, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Man. I will wholeheartedly say Prince. And it's because of what Prince did that people didn't know Prince was doing for people. And also, I also had a mission. I was supposed to go to Minnesota and teach the Minnesota National Guard. I could not wait to get there because I was definitely going to purify myself in the water of Lake Minnetonka. And then that mission got canceled, and I kind of shed a tear. But yes, it will definitely always be Prince. Do you know? By Michael Jackson was originally written for Prince. Prince declined the song after he read the first 4 words of the song. How did that song start off?
I didn't hear the beginning. What song?
I'm Bad by Michael Jackson. Was originally written for Prince.
Your butt is mine.
Yeah. Prince was like, whose butt? Nah, homie. I ain't singing about nobody's butt. And Michael Jackson took the song. True story.
Nice. I don't know if you can see the video that we just played on the screen, but so far we've had 116 episodes, and right now Prince is up 39 votes to 33. So lately Michael Jackson's been making a big comeback, but you did put Prince ahead. I support that answer for Prince as well. Prince is definitely one of my favorite artists of all time. All right, last question, Ash. what can we do to get better? The last question is always just an AR. What can we do to get better on our podcast?
Man, so I've listened to a couple of these. Definitely the first one you invited me to. I listened in on that one, and it was back in the I guess it was the beginning phases, and I mean, I totally get it, man. Like, you guys are doing great things. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm the AAR king, but I wouldn't change a thing about what you guys are doing. I will attempt, if I'm at home, I will attempt to tune in more. But yeah, I think you guys are doing great, man. I wouldn't change anything that you guys got going on. I don't know. You're surrounded by Navy guys, so
yeah, that's my only limitation, right?
Yeah, might be some tip touching going on in the near future, but that's okay, man.
Yeah, that's all good.
I got a famous motto, man. The Navy invented sex. The Marine Corps just introduced the women. So that's it. That's it.
All right, I appreciate you. You're officially out of the Triple Threat Vet hot seat. I appreciate that very much. So there are a couple more things I want to talk about. So
right.
You transitioned out. What type of work did you get into, and like what was the time frame from the time you got your DD-214 until you were already working again somewhere?
So I was working within 6 months, man. And again, crazy. I got hired with this company, Ravenswood Solutions. Easiest job anyone could ever want. So there's a the mouse gear, right? Now there's like a receiver transmitter that clips into your mouse gear, and that receiver transmitter shows me you on a screen. So if when I'm scanning you in, if I put male soldier, friendly 249, it's going to create a male soldier with a 249 avatar. So when soldiers would go out to the field, we would be overseeing them on this big ass screen, and we would have the battle major right beside us. And so if he wanted to test his unit, he's like, hey, can you drop an IED in front of this platoon while they're on their road march? Cool. I'll grab an IED, drag it, and drop it in front of that platoon. When they walk past it, all of their mouse gear would go off. And he would see them on screen, how they would react to that IED or whatever. So that was an easy job, man. That job was paying me like $2,000 a week to do absolutely nothing. So the Fort Hood mission ended. I went back to doing nothing, just chilling, collecting retirement. And then I got a phone call from the lead of that job. It's like, hey, man, the team loved you. They loved your work ethic, this, and this. We're about to start going on the road doing this. Would you want to come on the road with us? Absolutely. So I went to Virginia, out at Fort Pickett. Woo, terrible place. But did the same thing at Fort Pickett, and then COVID. And then we just stopped after COVID because no one was like training, going to the field and doing that type of training anymore. So I picked up this job that I have now, teaching radios for Sev 1 Tech, and I travel the world, dude. I will honestly tell you, I don't care who's listening, I have the easiest job in America. The easiest job in America. When I'm at home in Texas, I'm at home in Texas, man. That's why I can dedicate all this time to, fixing cars and building random stuff and, keeping my house together and stuff like that. Because when I'm at home, I'm at home. When I go on the road, we teach radios for a couple days and then we're chilling, and we travel everywhere there's an Army base or everywhere there's a forward deployed unit. We travel there and we teach them the new radio systems that are out. I would absolutely love for you to come on to this job. And get some.
Dude, I was gonna wait and ask you after we were off air, but the pump up that you're giving this job, I want to put what I'm doing to come work for you.
We have fielders, pretty much our supply people that issue out the radios and stuff like that. We have FSTs, that because radios aren't like the 1523 ASIP anymore. That's a hardware defined radio where you need to update it. You get a new radio. These radios, we just plug them into a computer, and push the software to that radio, and now it does this, now it does that. The new radios, man, 2-channel radios. We have Satcom on one side, Singars on the other side. We bridged them together. Now we can talk to Africa on ASIP 1523, from wherever we are, because we just bridged the two channels together. And we do this live in class. We teach HF. Singars, ASIP went away in December. So guess what? There's 2 new radios out right now replacing ASIP. And that's going to hit every unit in the Army. And guess who is the new ASIP trainer? Me. So we need trainers. Like, we're going to be spread so thin. Like, I go to Korea next month, and I will be there for 7 weeks. And I'll be teaching every day the radio that's replacing the ASIP radio. And it only does the Singars waveform. So it does everything that the regular ASIP does. It's just a different look to the radio. So 1 day course, then a new class comes in. If we decide to work Monday and Friday, we work Monday, Friday. If we work Monday and Tuesday and take the rest of the week off, then we're off for those next 5 days in Budapest, seeing other countries and stuff like that. But we are hiring, and we do need trainers. And
well, you will get my resume about an hour after the show goes off.
And I will absolutely submit it directly to my guy. Because man, bring your family. Well, you got 14 kids, so bring some of your family. All right. So yeah,
Right.
a lot of guys use it, hey, this is time for me and my wife to be in Hawaii for 6 days straight, and rekindle that flame. And then, hey, if that's what it takes, then your travel is paid for.
Yeah, you got some people in the comments here. Carlos Calzada is actually he was a Navy corpsman, and he was awesome dude, like very studious. He said, "It's in my resume, Ty."
Hey, we are hiring, man. We're all the trainers and FSTs and fielders. We're all remote, so live wherever you want to live. Check your email. All right, here's your flight and your rental car and your hotel to wherever you going next. All you gotta do is get your ass to the airport and do your little mileage, for however far you gotta drive to get to the airport. But I push this job on everyone, because why not, man? Why not? Yeah,
Absolutely.
we don't care how long you served, as long as you can not look stupid up there when you're up there teaching a radio. And guess what? Sit in the back, be an assistant instructor until you learn the system and how to present the material. Sit back there for as long as you want to, and then come up, hey, I'm going to do the intro today. Hey, I want to try TSM, or I want to try Singars. Sure, come on up. And then once you get it, you got it. It doesn't change.
So Carlos Calzada, we had him. We were live on location out at Jellystone Park last week, and we did a live podcast with him as the guest. So right before we went on, we started having all kinds of issues, combo issues, all the little gremlins. And at one point, he's like, "Well, we'll just turn it off and turn it back on." And I was like,
Yeah.
And so I did, and it worked. And so he got me. He wasn't an IT guy, so he's got that over my head now, so I'll never hear the end of that.
And it's the same thing we do too, man. You just push an update to the radio, and then nothing wants to work, man. Turn it, cycle the power, dude.
Yeah,
we can let it fix itself. Yeah, but you can apply at sev1tech.com. Go down to the bottom, career opportunities, and just look at all the jobs we got all over the world, man. Everywhere. If you're a IT cybersecurity person, we got so many jobs that pay buku bucks in the DC area. Please mention my name so I can get that $5,000 referral bonus. And yeah, all you gotta make is 90 days. I don't care if you get fired on day 91, because I get my bonus at your 90-day mark. So yeah,
I'm getting the website here real quick. I'm going to put it in the comments here.
Yep,
For
SEV, the number 1 TECH.com, sev1tech.com.
There we go. You heard it directly from Ashley Peele. Go to sev1tech.com and get some of that Budapest views.
I'm telling you, man, Budapest was absolutely beautiful. We were across the river from the Parliament on a hotel, top of a Hilton rooftop, and just drinking, looking at the Parliament. And again, me being the only black person ever in Budapest, people taking my picture, buying me drinks, and yeah, it was a good time.
There you go. You'll get one from Carlos Calzada tomorrow.
All right.
Well, Ashley Peele, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. You've always, from a distance, like I said, we only spent however long SGL is together, and then through telephonic messages when you were the brigade commo chief. But the impact that you've had and what I've learned from you in the last hour and 20 minutes was exactly the idea that I had of you in the first place. And I just want to tell you, you're one of the most professional, most direct, most Billy Blanks, I'll kick your ass if you don't get this shit done right the first time, like it's supposed to be done, student. I love your leadership style. And thank you for coming on the show, man, and just spreading your knowledge about you, your family. Asshole or an asset, you're definitely an asset. I appreciate you, bro.
There's one more.
Oh, yeah.
There's two ways to do something. What are they?
Easy way or the hard way?
The right way and again. That's it.
Right way and again.
That's it. People don't seem to understand it, but once it sinks in, they're like, all right, I guess I got to do it again because this damn sure ain't right. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me up here, man. I mean, I was secretly crushing on you before, but now it's just, love has grown even deeper.
That's so. I'm telling you, like, you meet certain people and they stand out. Like the people that I've met in our MOS, when I met a dude named Cody Gill. That's I don't even think he's a veteran, but he just knows that IT stuff, and we work together at the Danny Dietz, and you just have a mind meld. It's the same thing with you from like the first day of just the way you handle stuff, man. Like you are somebody that people just want to fucking run through a wall for. And, people say that and it's cliche, but it really means something to people that have been there and done that shit. And you are one of those guys that I always enjoyed just hearing about from afar. Like I remember hearing the disarray that 20th Engineer was in before you took all that stuff over. And I'm over in White Sands being like, yeah, I know my boy Peele is going to take care of this. And sure enough, I had Vicente Gallegos was there, and a couple of the MPs would talk about it. And I guess when they were doing the gaming, the warfighters or whatever, our names kind of became linked just because how awesome you were. And I really appreciate that, sharing your knowledge. So wish you as much luck as you could ever have. I hope your son does great in his MMA endeavors, and I will be talking to you very soon, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
All right. I'll hit you up pretty soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashley Peele, Army. Hey, that was great. We are going to be doing videos with Al and Matt to do our weekly picks since they didn't make it to the show today. They're both out there traveling. So we're going to end the show early, but we will come out with the videos with all the things we did. I will probably talk next week about the Danny Dietz, being able to go to the Project Zero golf tournament with Bubba Wesley, his first round of golf. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But until next week, we'll see you guys. Appreciate you. And
if you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Then press 1.